Hello everybody, it's your boy Oscar here, back with another video. Today is going to be a very special video, because today we're going to do the round of 16 prediction. We're going to predict the Quarter Champions League, the Europa League, and the Conference League. Who's going to win it all? Apologies for not making a video for the Mythic Tiki banner. My AZ recorder was doing really weird. Was not feeling it, so I didn't get the chance to record it. But if you want to know my opinion, yes, I did summon for Tiki. You know me, I always summon for Mythics. So let's get right into the draw. So the draw's been made, and we're gonna predict every single one. And of course, I'm gonna express my opinion. Don't bash my opinion, because it's just my opinion. So let's take a look. The first tie of the round of 16: Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea. It's gonna be a recap of the Club World Cup final. I mean, PSG are really good. They were really, League All, they kind of suck currently, but yeah, they could win the Champions League again. However, don't underestimate Chelsea, because I know they did sack their manager and all with Maresca gone, and they did get Liam Rosenaire. But I do think that Paris Saint-Germain will still progress to the next round. Narrowly. I think Chelsea will cut it close, but I do think Paris Saint-Germain will save the day at the end. Next up, it's going to be Galatasaray versus Liverpool. And many people would say Liverpool because they are good, but I don't really trust Liverpool currently at the moment. Not because I don't like them. I do have high respect for them, but I am going to say an upset is going to happen. I'm going to say Galatasaray. Real Madrid versus Man City for the 7th time in a row. Again, and who's going to win it this time? It's going to be Man City. Why? Because I don't trust Arbeloa. I don't hate Real Madrid. I do hate Real Madrid a little bit, because they're almost crying when things don't go their way. But but if you look at the moral perspective, at the football perspective, I do think Real Madrid do struggle. Sometimes with Arbeloa, they did lose to Osasuna, and I think they'll put their focus on the La Liga, and probably shift their focus from the Champions League, because I don't really think they care. Atalanta versus Bayern Munich, that's not really going to be a question. It's going to be Bayern. I don't see even Atalanta getting a chance against Bayern. Newcastle versus Barca, that's going to be a flip of a coin, because I do think that Barca could win against Newcastle, eventually win, I don't think Newcastle's a bad side. So I am going to say it's going to be Barcelona at the end, but it's going to be very narrow. Atletico versus Tottenham Hotspur. I do think Atletico is going to win. I think Tottenham this season really suck, obviously, and I'm going to say Barca wins it all. I'm going to say Atletico wins against Tottenham. Bodo Glimt versus Sporting Portugal. I'm going to say the Norwegians strike again, and they're going to surprise Sporting Club de Portugal. And then we got Leverkusen versus Arsenal. And I do think Arsenal are going to shift their focus to the Premier League. However, Leverkusen, they are really shaky. But they did beat Manchester City on English soil. So I am going to say Leverkusen. How about that? Leverkusen is going to progress in the next round. And then we got the next round, which will be these 4 matchups. And for the quarterfinals, I'm going to say Paris Saint-Germain wins against Galatasaray. Man City versus Bayern. I'm gonna say Man City. I don't think Bayern stands a chance. Plus, Bayern buddies, if you're watching, go fuck yourself, because Feyenoord is always gonna beat you. Barcelona versus Atletico. Barca are gonna face Atletico in the Copa del Rey. It's gonna be kind of a recap from that too. However, I am gonna say a surprise. I don't think Atletico is gonna progress at the end. And then Bodo Glimt versus Bayer Leverkusen. I'm going to say Bodo Glimt shocks the world and is going to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Paris Saint-Germain versus Man City. I'm going to say Paris Saint-Germain. I don't think, and that's not because it's not because that I hate Manchester City. I just don't see them beating Paris Saint-Germain. And then Atletico versus Bodo Glimt. I think this is where the road ends for Bodo Glimt. They did beat Atletico Madrid once. Now, you know what? Screw it. We're going to say upset. We're going to say an upset, and Bodo Glimt wins against Atletico Madrid. And then the final between Paris. You know what? Nah. I'm just going to play it safe, and I'm going to say Bodo Glimt lose against Atletico. I do think Bodo Glimt is going to eventually fall. But still a remarkable run for the Champions League semi-finals. Shout out to them. Really, really well done. And then the final between Paris Saint-Germain and Atletico. I don't think Paris Saint-Germain are going to win it twice. And this is going to be very happy. I'm going to be very happy for the Atletico fans. I'm going to say Atletico de Madrid wins the Champions League. I'm just going to say Atletico de Madrid wins the Champions League. And then we also got the Europa League. And we're going to predict those. Braga versus French Faroes. I'm going to say Braga, just to be safe. I don't think French Faroes stands a chance against Braga. Panathinaikos versus Real Betis. Anthony is going to absolutely crush Panathinaikos under his heel. Genk versus Freiburg. I'm going to say Genk. Celta de Vigo versus Lyon. I'm going to say Lyon. Stuttgart versus FC Porto. I'm going to say FC Porto. I don't think Stuttgart stands a chance. Forest against Midtjylland. I'm going to say Nottingham Forest. Bologna versus Roma. That's gonna be an interesting clash. It's gonna be between two Italian giants. The cup winner versus the current number 4 in the Serie A. And I'm gonna say the number 4 wins against the cup winner. And then Lille versus Villa. I think Ibu Martinez is gonna get his revenge against one of the fewer clubs that against the French, which is gonna be very interesting to see because he's going to France again. And he's not the most welcome person there, should I say the least, to say the least. Then we got Braga versus Real Betis, and I'm going to say Betis wins that fight. Genk versus Lyon, that's going to be a close call, but I'm going to say Genk wins it in the end. Porto, I'm going to say Porto wins that one at the end, and then Roma are going to win against Villa. And then the semifinals, I'm going to say Betis. I'm going to say Betis wins that fight against Genk. And then Porto wins against Roma. And in the end, I think my Europa League champions are going to be FC Porto. I don't see them stopping anytime soon. And it's because I love it. So that's going to be my prediction for the Europa League. And then we also got the Conference League for the bracket ready to go. Shakhtar Donetsk versus Lech Poznan from Poland. And I'm going to say Shakhtar progresses easily. AZ Alkmaar versus Sparta Prague. Well, I do want to say AZ. I think Sparta Prague can actually handle them. And it's also funny because Brian Priske did coach Feyenoord. I'm still mad that Feyenoord sacked him. I think they're mad. I think that's a dumb idea to do. And I think Sparta Prague is going to get its revenge against AZ Alkmaar. And Priske is going to get his revenge against the Netherlands. Hopefully. I hope he doesn't have a grudge against Feyenoord. I like the guy. Crystal Palace, that's not going to be a big question. I think Arnica and Larnaca are going to crumble against Crystal Palace. Fiorentina against Rakow. I'm going to say Rakow wins. I'm just going to say Fiorentina is going to suck. Fiorentina sucks currently, so I'm just going to say Rakow wins. Samsunspor versus Rayo Vallecano. I'm going to say Rayo. Got Athens versus Salje. I'm going to say Salje wins that battle. Sigma Olomouc versus Mainz. I'm going to say Mainz wins that battle. And then Rijeka versus Strasbourg. I'm going to say Rijeka. Yeah, I know. Then the quarterfinals, I'm going to say Sparta Prague wins against Shakhtar Donetsk. And Crystal Palace wins against Rakow. Rayo Vallecano wins against Salje. And Mainz wins against Rijeka. Sparta Prague versus Crystal Palace. I'm going to say Sparta Prague wins that battle. And then I think it's going to be a clash between Rayo Vallecano and Sparta Prague, and I'm going to say Sparta Prague is going to be the winners of the Conference League. And yet, I think that's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those. Which is going to be very interesting to see. And these are going to be my predictions for the Europe for the winners of each European final. Let me know. Because I do think in the end that I could always change it if I want to. But I'm just going to say some upsets happen and some upsets don't happen. And these are going to be my Champions League finalists. And then in the end, Atletico Madrid is going to win it all. And Porto is going to win. It's going to win it all too. So these are going to be my European predictions for the Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League. Good luck to all the clubs who are going to play against each other. And yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of Fire Emblem Heroes, y'all. Fire Emblem. The uefa competitions. Next week we're gonna see some bunnies. Hopefully not fairies, just bunnies. Anywho, peace.